Hello, forever friends and family. I would like to welcome everybody to our new session on webinars. The title of this webinar is The Compound Effect, the book written by legend Darren Hardy. We're going to read, to study, and hopefully to implement skills and knowledge from this outstanding book, starting today. This book, in my opinion, number 2 after Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. I read this book, study, and I attended training with Darren Hardy by this book. It was something very, very, very special. That's why I am very excited and passionate to share this book with you. And you will hear presentation done by Darren Hardy later today. But before we do that, let me share something else with you. What do we have on the screen, Isaac, please?
The power of forever.
The power of forever. I hope you already know that on September 24th, date is right here, it will be training in New York City. I already got my tickets, 4 tickets, and it will be September 24 from 10:30 to 2 p.m. in New York on the Broadway, 1535 Broadway Avenue, Times Square, and New York Marriott Marquis Hotel. Agenda right here. You could hear I make a posting of this announcement on the Facebook, so you are free to go to register and to get your tickets, and we will see each other in person on September 24 in Manhattan. That is announcement. I believe it's really valuable. Everybody have a time to schedule to join Forever Family together again. It was long time before we got together. Hopefully everything will be perfect. And agenda is right here. You could review it. It will be a lot of fun and profit, I hope and I guess. Any questions regarding this event? Feel free to unmute your microphone and ask any questions. Okay, I didn't see any hands, so there is no question. Very simple, very easy. And now let's move on. I am going to close this window, this screen, and we're going to back to see compound effect, and we are going to hear now, hopefully everything will be fine, Darren Hardy. Isaac, please confirm the sound. Isaac?
I don't hear anything yet.
That's very good. That's very good sign.
Мы хорошо слышим.
You heard the music, Zoya?
No music.
Oh, you heard me, but not music.
No
That's a challenge again. Hold on, please. Please forgive me.
Before we jump into the book, I wanted to take just a quick.
Now it's good.
Okay, let's go. Yes, I would like to have confirmation. It's not too loud or too loud.
It was good.
It was good.
Okay, let's move on.
Before we jump into the book, I wanted to take just a quick moment to thank you for honoring me with your time and attention, and for joining me on this amazing journey. We have poured a lot of love and care into this book, and now this audio program to be the very best it could be. So it really could make a transformational difference in your life. You will learn that I am fastidious about delivering results, tangible, measurable results. To do that, this piece of work needed to be world class. I believe, and I hope that you'll agree, that what we have crafted for you here is a powerful resource that will help you create the life you desire. I also want to express my excitement about having the ability to use this audio book format to help make the concepts in the compound effect come alive for you. You see, a printed book has some confinements as it requires strict guidelines of flow, pace, voice, and perspective. You have to color within the lines, so to speak. This isn't to mention the many editors taking their red pen sword and slashing away at my text. So in the final editing stages of the book, we had to cut several of the compelling stories, tips, and insights from some of my favorite interviews with several of today's most amazing thought leaders. Well, I'm thrilled to tell you that as we take this journey together through the audiobook, I'm going to include back in those additional anecdotes and ideas from some of today's super achievers that I've had a chance to work with and interview. This will help reinforce, add clarity, depth, color, and texture to the key ideas we'll discover together in our trip through the compound effect. You will also learn how these critical principles have been utilized and lived out in the lives and success stories of the many extraordinary people you now read about in the pages of Success and everywhere else. Now, get ready to multiply your success, one simple step at a time. Before we jump into the introduction, let me exercise one of the important principles of the compound effect by paying gratitude to the two men who made me and this book possible. This book is dedicated to Darren Hardy, my best man, my dad, the man who taught me the principles of the compound effect through his own life's example, and to Mr. Jim Rohn, my mentor, the man who taught me, amongst many things, to talk about things that matter to people who care. Introduction. This book is about success and what it really takes to earn it. It's time somebody told it to you straight. You've been bamboozled for too long. There's no magic bullet, secret formula, or quick fix. You don't make $200,000 a year spending only 2 hours a day on the internet. Lose 30 pounds in a week. Rub 20 years off your face with a cream. Fix your love life with a pill. Or find lasting success with any other scheme that is too good to be true. Hey, wouldn't it be great if you could buy your success, fame, self-esteem, good relationships, health and well-being in a nicely clamshelled plastic package at the local Walmart? But that's not how it works. Look, we are constantly bombarded with increasingly sensational claims to get rich, get fit, get younger, get sexier, all overnight with little effort and for 3 easy payments of $39.95. These repetitive marketing messages have distorted our sense of what it really takes to succeed. We've lost sight of the simple but profound fundamentals of what it really takes to be successful. I'm tired of it. I won't sit back and watch these reckless messages derail people any longer. I wrote this book to take you back to the basics. I'm going to help you clear the clutter and bring focus to the core fundamentals that matter. You will be able to immediately implement in your life the exercises and time-tested principles this book contains to produce measurable and sustainable results. I'm going to teach you to harness the power of the compound effect, the operating system that has been running your life, for better or for worse, whether you know it or not. Use this system to your advantage and you truly can revolutionize your life. You've heard you can achieve anything you set your mind to, right? Well, only if you know how. The compound effect is the operator's manual that teaches you how to master the system. When you do, there's nothing you can't obtain or achieve. So how do I know that the compound effect is the only process you need for ultimate success? Firstly, I've proven these principles to work in my own life, for real. Now, I hate it when authors beat their chest about their fame and fortune, but I think it's important that you know that I speak from personal experience, having done it myself. I'm offering you living proof, not regurgitated theory. The principles you'll read in this book are the reason why I was earning more than $1 million a year by age 24 and built a company to do more than 50 million by age 27. For the past 20 years, I've been intensely studying success and human achievement. My own life has been a personal laboratory of study and research. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars testing thousands of different ideas, resources, and philosophies. Through my own failings and triumphs, I've figured out which ideas and strategies have merit and which are sheer malarkey. My personal experience has proven that no matter what you learn or what strategy or tactic you employ, success comes as a result of the operating system of the compound effect. Secondly, for the past 16 years now, I've been a leader in the personal development industry, working closely with hundreds of top writers, speakers, and thought leaders. I've trained tens of thousands of entrepreneurs, advised many large companies, and personally mentored dozens of top CEOs and high-performance achievers. From thousands of those case studies, I've extracted what really matters and what works and what doesn't. Thirdly, as publisher of Success Magazine, I sift through thousands of article submissions and books, help choose the experts we feature in the magazine, review all of their material, and each month I interview a half dozen top experts on a multitude of success topics and drill down to their best ideas. All day, every day, I am consuming, sorting, filtering, and wading through an ocean of personal achievement knowledge. Here's my point. When you have such an exhaustive view of an entire industry and the wisdom gained through studying the teachings and best practices of some of the world's most successful people, an amazing clarity emerges. The underlying fundamental truths become crystal clear. Having seen it, read it, and heard most of it, I can no longer be fooled by the latest gambit or self-proclaimed prophet with the newest quote-unquote scientific breakthrough. Nobody can sell me on the latest gimmick. I have too many reference points. I've gone down too many roads and learned the truth the hard way. As my mentor, the great business philosopher Jim Rohn said, there are no new fundamentals. Truth is not new, it's old. You've got to be a little suspicious of the guy who says, hey, come over here. I want to show you my new manufactured antiques. No, you can't manufacture new antiques. They're old. What this book is about, with all the unnecessary noise, fat, and fluff removed, is what really matters. What really works. Those half a dozen basics that, if focused on and mastered, constitute the operating system that can take you to any goal you desire and help you live the life you were meant to live. This book contains those half a dozen fundamentals. They comprise the operating system called the compound effect. Let me put it to you as simply as I can, and it's this. Success is not doing 5,000 things really well. Success is doing a half dozen things really well 5,000 times. So the key then is, what are those half dozen things and how do you do them really well? That is what this book details. Now, before we dig in, I do have one warning. Contrary to commercial promotion, earning success is hard. The process is laborious, tedious, sometimes even boring. Becoming wealthy, influential, and world-class in your field is slow and arduous. Don't get me wrong though, you will see results in your life from following these steps almost immediately. But if you have an aversion to work, discipline, and commitment, you're welcome to turn the TV back on and put your hope in the next infomercial. You know, the one with the circus barker touting promises of overnight success, only if you have access to a major credit card and can call right now. Here's the bottom line. You already know all that you need to succeed. You don't need to learn anything more. If all we needed was more information, everyone with an internet connection would be living in a mansion, have abs of steel, and be blissfully happy. New or more information is not what you need. A new plan of action is. It's time to create new behaviors and habits that are oriented away from sabotage and toward success. It's that simple. You are about to discover a detailed, tangible plan of action. Let it shake up your expectations, eliminate your assumptions, ignite your curiosity, and bring value to your life, starting right now. This is the best of everything I've heard, seen, studied, and tried, all in one life-changing little book. And it is simple. So, are you ready? In good Jim Rohn fashion, if you're ready, say, I'm ready. Okay, let's get started.
Okay, are you ready? I need to have an answer from
I'm
everybody,
ready.
one by one.
I'm ready.
Ready.
Okay, next. Who else is ready?
I'm ready.
So are we ready for action?
Yes.
Yes,
Okay,
we
it
are.
was introduction, only 10 minutes, 41 seconds. Part number 1 is 29 minutes. Are you ready to listen?
Ready.
Yes, we are.
Yes.
Okay, let's do it.
Let's do it.
Chapter 1, the compound effect in action.
Can you hear him?
Yes.
Okay, let's go.
Know that expression, slow and steady wins the race? Ever heard of the story of the tortoise and the hare? Ladies and gentlemen, I'm the tortoise. Give me enough time and I will beat virtually anybody, anytime, in any competition. Why? Not because I'm the best or the smartest or the fastest. I'll win because of the positive habits I've developed and because of the consistency I'll use in applying those habits. I'm the world's biggest believer in consistency. I'm living proof that it's the ultimate key to success. Yet, it's one of the biggest pitfalls for people struggling to achieve. Most people don't know how to sustain it. I do, and I have my father to thank for that. In essence, he was my first coach for igniting the power of the compound effect. I was a strange child, I admit. I think I was born an adult. My parents divorced when I was only 18 months old, and my dad raised me as a single father. He wasn't exactly the soft, nurturing type. He was a former university football coach, and he hardwired me for achievement. Thanks to Dad, wake-up calls were at 6 a.m. every morning, and not by a loving tap on the shoulder or even the soft sounds of a radio alarm. No, I was awakened each morning by the repetitious, pile-driving sound of iron pounding on the concrete floor of our garage, which was situated right next to my bedroom. It was like waking up 12 feet from a construction zone. He had painted a huge "no pain, no gain" sign on the wall of the garage, which he stared at while he did his countless old-school strongman deadlifts, power cleans, lunges, and squats. Rain, sleet, or shine, Dad was out there in his shorts and tattered sweatshirt. He never missed a day. You could set your watch by his routine. I had more chores than a housekeeper and gardener put together. Upon returning from school, there was always a list of instructions to greet me. Pull weeds, rake leaves, sweep the garage, dust, vacuum, do the dishes, you name it. And getting behind in school wasn't tolerated. That's just the way it was. Dad was the original no excuses guy. We weren't ever allowed to stay home from school sick unless we were actually puking, bleeding, or quote unquote showing bone. The term showing bone came from his coaching days. His players knew that they weren't allowed to come out of the game unless they were seriously injured. One time his quarterback asked to be pulled out of a game and Dad said, "Not unless you're showing bone." The quarterback pulled back his shoulder pads and sure enough, his collarbone was sticking out of his neck skin. Only then was he allowed to come off the field. One of Dad's core philosophies was, it doesn't matter how smart you are or aren't, you need to make up in hard work what you lack in experience, skill, intelligence, or innate ability. If your competitor is smarter, more talented, or experienced, you just need to work 3 or 4 times as hard. You can still beat them. No matter what the challenge, he taught me to make up in hard work for wherever I might be disadvantaged. Miss free throws at the game? Do 1,000 free throws every day for a month. Not good at dribbling with your left hand? Tie your right hand behind your back and dribble for 3 hours a day. Behind in your math. Hunker down, hire a tutor, and work like hell all summer until you get it. No excuses. If you aren't good at something, work harder, work smarter. He walked his talk too. Dad went from being a football coach to a top salesperson. From there, he became the boss and ultimately went on to own his own company. But I wasn't given loads of instruction. From the beginning, Dad let us figure it out. He was all about taking personal responsibility. He didn't hammer on us every night about homework. We just had to show up with the results. And when you did, you were celebrated. If we got good grades, Dad would take us to this place called Pring's, an ice cream parlor where you could get these giant king banana splits, 6 scoops of ice cream and all the fixings. Sometimes my siblings didn't fare as well in school, so they didn't get to go. Getting to go was a big deal, so you worked your butt off to win the trip. Dad's discipline served as an example for me. Dad was my idol. I wanted him to be proud of me. I also lived in fear of disappointing him. One of his philosophies is, be the guy who says no. It's no great achievement to go along with the crowd. Be the unusual guy, the extraordinary guy. That's why I never did drugs. He never harped on me about it, but I didn't want to be that guy who just went along because everybody else was doing it. And I didn't want to let Dad down. Thanks to Dad, by age 12, I had mastered a schedule worthy of the most efficient CEO. Sometimes I griped and moaned, hey, I was a kid. But even then, I secretly liked knowing that I had an edge over my classmates. Dad gave me a serious head start on the discipline and mentality it takes to be dedicated and responsible, to achieve whatever I set out to achieve. Hey, it's no accident that the tagline of Success Magazine is, what achievers read. Today, Dad and I joke about what an addictive overachiever he trained me to be. At 18, I was making a 6-figure income in my own business. By age 20, I owned my own home in an upscale neighborhood. And as mentioned before, by age 24, my income grew to more than $1 million a year. And by age 27, I was officially a self-made millionaire with a business that brought in more than $50 million in revenue. That just about brings us to present day, because I'm not yet 40, but have enough money and assets to last my family the rest of my life. To this, Dad says, hey, there are a lot of ways to screw up a kid. At least my way was a pretty good one. You seem to have done pretty well. So while I admit I have had to practice sitting on my hands and being present in the moment, or chilling out peacefully in a beach chair from time to time without taking a pile of business books and self-improvement CDs with me, I'm grateful for the success skills I learned from my dad and my other mentors along the way. The compound effect reveals the quote-unquote secret behind my success. I'm a true believer in the compound effect because Dad made sure that I lived it each and every day until I couldn't live any other way if I tried. But if you're like most people, you're not a true believer yet. There are lots of perfectly understandable reasons why. You haven't had the same coaching and example showing you what to do. You haven't experienced the payoff of the compound effect. As a society, we have been deceived. We have been hypnotized by commercial marketing, which convinces you of problems you don't have and sells you on the idea of insta fixes to cure them. We've been socialized to believe in fairy tale endings found in movies and novels. We've lost sight of the good, old-fashioned value of hard and consistent work. Let's examine these hurdles one by one. You haven't experienced the payoff of the compound effect. The compound effect is the principle of reaping huge rewards from a series of small, smart choices. Whether you're using this strategy for improving your health, relationships, finances, or anything else for that matter, the changes are so subtle, they're almost imperceptible. These small changes offer little or no immediate result, no big win, no obvious "I told you so" payoff. So why bother? Most people get tripped up by the simplicity of the compound effect. For instance, they quit after the 8th day of running because they're still overweight, or they stop practicing the piano after 6 months because they haven't mastered anything other than chopsticks, or they stop making contributions to their IRA only after a few years because they could use the cash, and it doesn't seem to be adding up to much anyway. What they don't realize is that these small, seemingly insignificant steps completed consistently over time will create a radical difference. Let me give you a few detailed examples. Before the examples, remember this formula. Small, smart choices plus consistency plus time equal radical difference. The magic penny. If you were given a choice between taking $3 million in cash this very instant and a single penny that doubles in value every day for 31 days, which would you choose? Now, if you've heard this before, you know the penny gambit is the choice you should make. You know it's the course that will lead to greater wealth. Yet, why is it so hard to believe that choosing the penny will result in more money in the end? Because it takes so much longer to see the payoff. Let's take a closer look. Let's say you take the cold hard cash and your friend goes for the penny. On day 5, your friend has just 16 cents. You, however, have 3 million. On day 10, it's $5.12 versus your big bucks. How do you think your friend is feeling about her decision? You're spending your millions, enjoying the heck out of it, and loving your choice. After 20 days with only 11 days left, Penny Lane has only $5,243. How is she feeling about herself at this point? For all her sacrifice and positive behavior, she barely has more than $5,000. You, however, have 3 million. Then the invisible magic of the compound effect starts to become visible. Now understand, it's the same small mathematical growth improvement each day that makes the compounded penny worth $10,737,418.24 on day 31, more than 3 times your 3 million. In this example, we see why consistency over time is more important. On day 29, you've got 3 million. Penny Lane has around 2.7 million. It isn't until day 30 that she pulls ahead with 5.3 million. And it isn't until the very last day of this month-long ultra marathon that your friend blows you out of the water and she ends up with the 10 million to your 3 million. Very few things are as impressive as the magic of compounding pennies. Amazingly, this force is equally powerful in every area of your life. Here's another example. 3 friends. Let's take 3 buddies who all grew up together. They live in the same neighborhood with very similar sensibilities. Each makes around $50,000 a year. They're all married. They have average health and body weight, plus a little bit of that dreaded marriage flab. Friend number 1, let's call him Larry, plods along doing as he's always done. He's happy, or so he thinks, but complains occasionally that nothing ever changes. Friend number 2, we'll call Scott. He starts making some small, seemingly inconsequential, positive changes. He begins reading 10 pages of a good book a day and listening to 30 minutes of something instructional or inspirational just on his commute to work. Scott wants to see changes in his life, but doesn't want to make a big fuss over it. He recently read an article with Dr. Mehmet Oz in Success Magazine and chose one idea from the article to start implementing in his life. He's going to cut out 125 calories from his diet every day. No big deal. We're talking about maybe a cup of cereal less, trading a can of soda for a bottle of seltzer, switching from mayo to mustard on a sandwich, all doable. He also started walking a couple of extra 1,000 steps a day, less than a mile. No grand acts of bravery or effort, stuff anyone could do. But Scott is determined to stick with these choices, knowing that even though they're simple, he could also easily be tempted to abandon them. Friend number 3, we'll call Brad. Brad starts making a few poor choices. He recently bought a new big screen TV so he could watch more of his favorite programs. He's been trying out some of those recipes he's seen on the Food Channel, you know, some of those cheesy casseroles and the desserts that are his favorites. Oh, and he installed a bar in his family room and added just 1 alcoholic drink per week to his diet. Nothing crazy. Brad just wants to have a little more fun. So at the end of 5 months, there are no perceivable differences between Larry, Scott, or Brad. Scott continues to read a little bit every night and listens to audios during his commute. Brad is, quote unquote, enjoying life and doing less. Larry keeps doing as he's always done. Even though each man has his own pattern of behavior, 5 months isn't long enough to see any real decline or improvement in their situation. In fact, if you charted the weight of the three men, you'd see a rounding error of 0. They look exactly equal. At the end of 10 months, and then again 15 months, we can't see any noticeable changes in any of their lives. It's not until we get to the end of the 18th month that the slightest differences are measurable in the appearances of the three friends. Even so, there's nothing of any valued consequence that they would recognize differing the three of them. But about month 25, we start seeing really measurable, visible differences. At month 27, we see an expansive difference. And by month 31, the change is startling. Brad is now fat while Scott is trim. By simply cutting out 125 calories a day. In just 31 months, Scott has lost 33 pounds. In case you're skeptical or curious, here's the math. 31 months equals 940 days. 940 days times 125 calories a day equals 117,500 calories saved. 117,500 calories saved times 1 pound divided by 3,500 calories equals 33.5 pounds lost. Now, on the other side of the equation, Brad ate only 125 calories more. Remember, as small as a bowl of cereal a day in the same time frame and gained 33.5 pounds. Now he weighs 67 pounds more than Scott, but the differences are more significant than weight. Scott invested almost 1,000 hours in reading good books and listening to self-improvement audios. By putting his newly gained knowledge into practice, he's earned a promotion and a raise. Best of all, his marriage is thriving. Brad, he's unhappy at work and his marriage is on the rocks. And Larry is pretty much exactly where he was 2.5 years ago, except now he's a little bit more bitter about it. By the way, let me jump off and talk a little bit more about Larry here. Larry represents the vast majority of people. They aren't climbing new heights and accomplishing great feats, and they aren't in a death spiral downward either. They are in what Tony Robbins called in our January 2009 interview in no man's land. He said, this is a place where you're not really happy, but you're not unhappy enough to do anything about it. That's a dangerous place. It's a place where people numb themselves to their dreams. It's where they dismiss hope and accept what's in front of them instead of driving towards what they really want in life. Don't ever be a Larry. Don't get stuck in the no man's land of complacency and status quo. There's no standing still. You are either green and growing or ripening and rotting. There really is no in between. Okay, back to the book. The phenomenal power of the compound effect is simple. The difference between people who employ the compound effect for their benefit compared to their peers who allow the same effect to work against them is almost inconceivable. It looks miraculous, like magic or quantum leaps. After 31 months or 31 years, the person who uses the positive nature of the compound effect appears to be an overnight success. In reality, his or her profound success was a result of small, smart choices completed consistently over time. Get it? The ripple effect. The results in the previous example seem dramatic, I know, but it goes even deeper than that. The reality is that even one small change can have a significant impact that causes an unexpected and unintended ripple effect. Let's put one of Brad's bad habits under the microscope, eating rich food more frequently, to better understand how the compound effect can also work in a negative way and can create a ripple effect that impacts your entire life. Brad makes some muffins from a recipe he learned on the Food Channel. He's proud of it and his family loves it, and so it seems to add value all around. He starts making them and other sweets frequently. He loves his own cooking and eats a little bit more than his share, but not so much that anyone notices. However, the extra food makes Brad sluggish at night. He wakes up a little groggy, which makes him cranky. The crankiness and sleep deprivation begin to impact his work performance. He's less productive and as a result, gets discouraging feedback from his boss. By the end of the day, he feels dissatisfied with his job and his energy level is way down. The commute home seems longer and more stressful than ever. All of this makes him reach for even more comfort food. Stress has a way of doing that. The overall lack of energy makes Brad less likely to take walks with his wife like he used to.
He just doesn't feel like it. She misses their time together and takes his withdrawal personally. With fewer shared activities with his wife and an absence of fresh air and exercise, Brad's not getting the endorphin release that would make him feel upbeat and enthusiastic. Because he's not as happy, he starts finding fault with himself and others and stops complimenting his wife. And his own body starts to feel flabby, and he feels less self-confident, less attractive, and becomes less romantic. Brad doesn't realize how his lack of energy and affection towards his wife affects her. He just knows that he feels funky. He starts losing himself in late night TV because it's easy and distracting. Feeling the distance, Brad's wife starts to complain, then becomes needy. When that doesn't work, she emotionally withdraws to protect herself. She's lonely. She pours her energy into her work and spends more time with her girlfriends to fulfill her need for companionship. Men start flirting with her, which makes her feel desirable again. Now, she would never cheat on Brad, but he has a feeling that something's wrong. Instead of seeing that his poor choices and behaviors are at the root of the problem, he finds fault with his wife. Believing that the other person is wrong rather than looking inside and doing the work necessary to clean up your mess is basic psychology 101 stuff. In Brad's case, he doesn't know to look inside. They don't offer self-improvement or relationship advice on Top Chef or his other favorite crime shows. Now, if he had read the personal development books his buddy Scott has read, maybe he would have learned about ways to change negative habits and start making vegetable juices instead of desserts, at least some of the time. Unfortunately for Brad, the small choices he made on a daily basis created that ripple effect that wreaked havoc on every area of his life. Now, of course, all that calorie counting and intellectual stimulation has had the opposite effect with Scott, who's now reaping the bounty of positive results. It's that simple. With enough time and consistency, the outcomes become visible. Better yet, they're totally predictable. The compound effect is predictable and measurable, and that's great news. Isn't it comforting to know that you only need to take a series of tiny steps consistently over time to radically improve your life? Doesn't that sound easier than mustering up some grand show of bravery and heroic strength only to wear yourself out and have to drum up all that energy again at a later date for another try, which will most likely be unsuccessful as well? I'm exhausted just thinking about it. But that's what people do. We've been conditioned by society to believe in the effectiveness of great displays of massive effort. Heck, it's downright all-American. Success, old school. The most challenging aspect of the compound effect is that we have to keep working away at it for a while, consistently and efficiently, before we begin to see the payoff. Our grandparents knew this, though. They didn't spend their evenings glued to the TV watching infomercials about how to have thin thighs in 30 days or a real estate kingdom in 6 months. I bet your grandparents worked 6 days a week, from sun up to sundown, using the skills they learned in their youth and repeating them throughout their entire life. They knew the secret was hard work, discipline, and good habits. It's always interesting to me that wealth tends to skip a generation. Overwhelming abundance often leads to a lackadaisical mentality, which brings about a sedentary lifestyle. Children of wealth are especially susceptible. They weren't the ones who developed the discipline and character to create the wealth in the first place. So it makes sense that they might not have the same sense of value for wealth or understand what's necessary to keep it. We frequently see this entitlement mentality in children of royalty, movie stars, and corporate executives, and to a lesser degree, in children and adults everywhere. As a nation, our entire populace seems to have lost appreciation for the value of a strong work ethic. We've had 2, if not 3 generations of Americans who have known great prosperity, wealth, and ease. Our expectations of what it really takes to create lasting success, like grit, hard work, and fortitude, they just aren't alluring and thus have been mostly forgotten. We've lost respect for the strife and struggle of our forefathers. The massive effort they put forth instilled discipline, chiseled their character, and stroked the spirit to brave new frontiers. The truth is, complacency has impacted all great empires, including but not limited to the Egyptians, Greeks, Romans, Spanish, Portuguese, French, and English. Why? Because nothing fails like success. Once dominant empires have failed every time. For this reason, people get to a certain level of success and get too comfortable. Having experienced extended periods of prosperity, health, and wealth, we become complacent. We stop doing what we did to get us there. We become like the frog in the boiling water that doesn't jump to his freedom because the warming is so incremental and insidious that he doesn't notice that he's getting cooked. If we want to succeed, we need to recover our grandparents' work ethic. It's time to restore our character, if not for the sake of saving America, at least for your own greater success and achievement. Don't buy into the genie in a lamp idea. You can sit on your couch waiting to attract checks into your mailbox, rub crystals together, walk on fire, channel that 2,000-year-old guru, or chant affirmations if you want to, but much of that is hocus pocus commercialism, manipulating you by appealing to your weaknesses. Real and lasting success requires work, and lots of it. I have a quick real-time story to illustrate this nothing fails like success concept. A great new restaurant opened up close to my home on the beach in San Diego. In the beginning, the place was always immaculate. The hostess had a big welcoming smile for everyone. The service was impeccable. The manager always came over to assure it, and the food was sensational. Soon people lined up to eat there and would often wait more than an hour to be seated. Then, unfortunately, the restaurant staff began to take its success for granted. The hostess became snooty, the service staff disheveled and curt, and the food hit or miss. The place was out of business within 18 months. They failed because of their success, or rather, because they stopped doing what made them successful to begin with. Their success clouded their perspective and they slacked off. Microwave mentality. Understanding the compound effect will rid you of the instant results expectation. The belief success should be as fast as your fast food, your 1-hour glasses, your 30-minute photo processing, your overnight mail, your microwave eggs, your instant hot water and text messaging. Enough, okay? Promise yourself that you're going to let go once and for all your lottery winner expectations. Because let's face it, you only hear the stories about the one winner, not the millions of losers. That person you see jumping up and down in front of the Vegas slot machine or at the horse track race doesn't reveal the hundreds of times that same person lost. If we go back to our mathematical chance of a positive result again, we have a rounding error of 0, as in you have about 0 chance of winning. Harvard psychologist Daniel Gilbert, author of Stumbling on Happiness, says, if we gave lottery losers each 30 seconds on TV to announce not I won, but I lost, it would take almost 9 years to get through the losers of a single drawing. When you understand how the compound effect works, you won't pine for quick fixes or silver bullets. Don't try to fool yourself into believing that a mega successful athlete didn't live through regular bone-crushing drills and thousands of hours of practice. He got up early to practice and kept practicing long after others had stopped. He faced the sheer agony and frustration of the failure, loneliness, hard work, and disappointment it took to become number one. By the end of this book, or even before, I want you to know it in your bones that the only path to success is through a continuum of mundane, unsexy, unexciting, and sometimes difficult daily disciplines compounded over time. Know, too, that the results, the life, and the lifestyle of your dreams can be yours when you put the compound effect to work for you. If you use the principles outlined in the compound effect, you will create a fairy tale ending. Okay, have I made my point? Good. Now, before we go into the next chapter, I want to remind you that in the book, I provide you with a summary of action steps, taking the key principles that we've covered in chapter 1 so you can start integrating them into your life. Remember this, knowledge is not power, it's potential power. It's like energy in a light switch. Until you turn it on, taking action, the power is useless. Knowledge uninvested is wasted. Or as Jim Rohn would say, ideas without action leads to delusion. So don't forget to go back, capture the key points, and start taking action on them today. Now, coming up in the next chapter, we will focus on the one thing that controls your life. Every victory or defeat, triumph or failure has started with this. Everything you have or don't have in your life right now has been because of this. Learn to change this and you can change your life. Let's discover what this is.
Congratulations. Chapter 1 is completed. Include introduction. I'm very happy and proud of all of you who joined us today. Any questions, any comments? Any volunteers?
Hi, Alex. Hi, good evening,
Hello,
everyone.
Iris.
I think it's it's a different way of doing the book reading Monday. So it's different. So because you're hearing Darren Hardy's own voice and how he reads it. So all you need to do is concentrate.
Action, action, and action again. What is the knowledge is not a power, it's a potential power. Apply knowledge is power. For example, if I know how to do presentation about FLP marketing plan or how to invite people, if I will not do it with somebody else, it's useless. It's not a power, it's a potential power. Simply that. Thank you, Iris. Okay, please do not disconnect right now because I will stop recording and I will share something with you. I hope you are going to like it. Thank you very much. And I will make an announcement just in a minute.